My name's Mike and I want to talk to you today about poetry. Poetry? Yeah, poetry. Because you always get poetry in birthday cards and you even get it on adverts for McDonald's and Adidas, or Adidas, I don't even know how you say it. But is poetry something you take really seriously? And if we are going to take it seriously this afternoon, I better put on my serious hat because I want you to take me seriously. So I'll put on my serious hat and now, of course, you'll take me seriously, won't you? No, but actually, how seriously you take poetry is really up to you, because people can study poetry, and when you study right up and look at all sorts of types of poetry, you can get to some that's really quite technical and very skillful. But really, what you must remember is poetry's got a beat and a rhythm to it. So often, even when you get to the really complicated stuff, it's all about the beat and the rhythm, and you can do that with the words. So even if I said to you, I haven't time to take your call right now, so leave a message when you hear the tone. Can you hear the music in that? Because there's music in poetry, but it doesn't have to rhyme. It just has to be quite skillful as you play around with language and play around with ideas. So I'm going to get a poetry expert for you now who's going to come. And yeah, well, you said you would. So here's a poetry expert, and yeah, come on. Here he is. Now, this is Lionel, my friend, aren't you? Yeah. And you're a poetry expert, is that correct? Yeah. So are you going to talk to the people watching this about poetry now? No. Well, okay. I thought you were going to say something about, something really deep and interesting about poetry. Are you? No. Well, are you going to read or say aloud one of your poems for everyone? No. So, really? But you are a poetry expert? Yeah. Okay. But you're not really sharing much of that knowledge with us. So if you're sort of quite reluctant, I suggest, do you want to leave me to it? Yeah. Okay. Off you go then. Well, that's Lionel, who is a poetry expert but is not sharing much with us today. Now, here's the important thing. It's having fun. You play with words, and when you get to really skillful stuff like this, for example, from Wilfred Owen, who's... I just like, oh, I got the wrong one. He's describing people at war, and just look at the language. Bent double like old beggars under sacks, knock-kneed, coughing like hags, we curse through sludge. Can you just see the words there? Just the bent double like old beggars under sacks. He paints a picture for us very clearly of soldiers during wartime, and it's he paints a lovely picture. Now, talking of painting pictures, I want to talk to you about Banksy. You know Banksy, the graffiti artist? Banksy paints pictures, and he'll take what is an ordinary angle and then do something really interesting with it. Say, for example, the most famous painting in the world, the Mona Lisa. Well, Banksy, who's from Bristol, nobody knows who he is, he looks at a wall and thinks, right, I'm going to paint the Mona Lisa by here. But of course he's got to do the Mona Lisa, not just the Mona Lisa, because Leonardo da Vinci painted it 500 years ago, but he's got to do it in his own way. So when he does the Mona Lisa, he does this. He gives her a rocket launcher. So he's actually putting together hate, violence and nastiness with a rocket launcher with beauty and art and loveliness. And he's telling a story of, like, actually, if we painted more pictures and made less guns, the world might be a nicer place. So that's Banksy and his pictures. Now, when we're writing a poem, we have to find an angle to come in on and an idea. Say, for example, this happens in all schools, because I've been in them myself and was a schoolboy once, many years ago. Teachers often say, right, it's autumn or it's spring, and we're going to write a poem about autumn or spring, which lots of famous poets have done over the years. So if someone said to you, right, I want you to write a poem about autumn. Now, the go-to autumn poem is, a carpet of crinkling, crunching leaves of gold and yellow and all the colours and stuff. But obviously you've got to find an angle. So here's an angle on an autumn poem that you might think, an autumn poem? So this is trying to write a poem Banksy style that is about autumn. And it comes from this lovely book, A Wee Bit of Trouble, which is only a £5. Anyway, it's called Action Poem. I want to write an action poem where there's an earthquake in the second line and a 4-car pile-up in line 3. I want to write an action poem where mushroom clouds invade kitchens, snogged frogs turn into caterpillars, and vice versa. Where the evolving world spins and dries as the moon hurdles tidal waves and God walks into town with a 6-pack and a bazooka. I want to write an action poem with speedboat chases and grenade-launching granddads cascading from an exploding chest of drawers. I want to write an action poem where teachers pull teeth and children never listen. It's got hurricanes and twisting tornadoes, dragons and deadly viruses. I want to write an action poem. But Sir says it's got to be about autumn. So a little twist at the end, just to sort of, when you think it's going one way, it goes in another way. So it's a very, very different angle on autumn. So when your teacher asks you to write something about one of the seasons, right? Do that now. Write a poem about one of the seasons. But think whichever season you're in, okay? And think, but try and find an angle on that. Yeah, so your angle might be, I get fed up of people talking about spring and hope, because I don't feel very happy today. Or whatever it is, find an angle to get in. And it doesn't have to be, you know, you can make it up. That's a great thing about poetry. So, yeah, you can just write about the ladybird on the windowsill or something like that. So, let's think of another one, right? Give you another idea for, what about that thing when, do you know when you forget your reading book and you leave it at home, or you're supposed to bring your money for going to Oakwood Park or something like that, and you forget it, and you're the only child left who hasn't brought a slip in, and Mrs. there thinking, where's the slip? You've been told time and time again. So this one's about excuses, because we all make excuses up sometimes, and it's just having a bit of fun with making up fantastical excuses. And this one's about a child who has forgotten to bring in their reading book, and it's called Please Miss, and it goes like this. Oh, please, miss, I know you told us to bring in our reading books, but I haven't got mine, miss, because when I got home, my older brother rolled it up to use as a pea shooter and he shot the lady next door. And she complained to the police and they wanted my reading book as evidence, miss. But my mum said no, because I needed it for school. And she grabbed it with the policeman and they wrestled with it and tore it in half, miss. My sister said she'd glue it together, but she managed to super glue half of it to a plate of pasta she was eating, then decided the other half was no good anymore, so she lined her hamster's cage with it, miss. And he messed on it, miss, and that ruined all of page 7. Then he tore it up the rest for a den in his cage. My mum chucked the other half, with the plate of pasta, in the bin, but during the night, miss, you'll never guess, we got broken into by thieves and they stole the hamster, his cage, and our bin, miss. I don't know why. Anyway, we called the police, but they didn't want to come because the policeman had injured his arm wrestling with my mum the day before. And anyway, he said we're a family that always tells lies. But we don't, miss. Honest, we don't. So can I have a new reading book now, miss, please? Because I've told the truth now, haven't I, miss? So that's another telling fantastical lies. You have one. Write your own one of making excuses and make them fantastical excuses. Let's do that. So poetry. So poetry is having, first you've got to get a good idea. What's your idea? What's your angle to come in and write a poem? Once you've got that, then you can start to think about how can I do it in a short form, which is what a poem is. You can tell it takes 6 months or a year writing a novel or a book, can't you? But a poem, you can do it in quite a short time. So have a go at doing that. And then this one, for example, this one I found, I remember this, I'm going to show you this. This is a Miroslav Holub poem. He's a poet who, and I remember when I first came across this, it was called The Door. And I thought, oh, what are you going to write about, Miroslav? About a door. And he wrote this because he actually found a door as something full of possibilities. Listen to this. Go and open the door. Maybe outside there's a tree or a wood, a garden or a magic city. Go and open the door. Maybe a dog's rummaging. Maybe you'll see a face or an eye or a picture of a picture. Go and open the door. If there's a fog, it will clear. Go and open the door, even if there's only the darkness ticking, even if there's only the hollow wind, even if nothing is there. Go and open the door. At least there'll be a draft. So again, a little twist at the end, but it's actually all the possibilities of what could be behind the door. Why don't you go and write one now? Go and answer the phone, or go and open the door, or go out. Something that gives you that, and keep repeating that phrase. Go and open the door, and come up with all different ideas, and make every idea different to the last one. So keep playing with your mind. Dig deep into your mind like Banksy does, and come up with ideas. Here's another one, right? That's written by a man called Ian Macmillan, who I've read poetry with on a couple of occasions, right? And he wrote this one called 10 Things Found in a Wizard's Pocket. And it goes like this. 10 things found in a wizard's pocket. A dark night. Some words that nobody could ever spell. A glass of water full to the top. A large elephant. A vest made from spiders' webs. A handkerchief the size of a car park. A bill from the wand shop. A bucket full of stars and planets to mix with the dark night. A bag of magic mints you can suck forever. A snoring rabbit. So there's another one you could write. You can have a go at, right? Write a poem, 10 things found in your teacher's pocket, or 10 things found in a school child's pocket, or an astronaut's pocket. Anything. You can pick anyone. Come up with some interesting ideas. Go on, have a go. So there's a few ideas. And what about this one? I was told a few years ago, because I love reading, right? You can see the books behind me. I love reading. And I think reading's really important. Everyone who's anyone, right? Even Einstein said, imagination is more important than knowledge. Big reader. Leonardo da Vinci, big reader. They're all big readers, right? And I want you to be big, because reading's great fun, right? But I was told a few years ago, oh, Mike, boys don't read. Don't they? Well, I'm a boy and I read. Yeah, you do. But a lot of boys don't read. So then I started thinking, why don't boys read? So then I thought, I'll write a poem about that. Boys don't read. And all the reasons why boys don't read. Because I don't know why they don't. Maybe they do. Maybe you do. But this one's called Boys Don't Read, and it goes like this. Boys don't read. They dream of hat tricks and hadron colliders, of chemicals and computer games, and scoring winning tries for whales. Hibernating in quilts, they inhabit a post-nuclear world of underwater cityscapes, where they destroy endless mutant zombies and save the universe from psychopathic grenade-launching grannies in high definition. Gangly gangsters with gadgets. Boys don't read. They are buried in hoodies, on roller skates and rollerblades, doing parkour and press-ups and testing their testosterone, terminating bystanders and buying burger baps and beige cat daps. Boys don't read. They reinvent wheels with chrome-trimmed exhausts, blowing drum and bass through the vibrating windows of the once and future young. They speed through their adolescence and arrive without a book in sight. Boys don't read. But if they did, the world would be a different place. Less black and white, more grey, and softer round the edges. So there's one on why boys don't read. Maybe you can write something about, I don't know, you can pick a topic. So there's some ideas for you to get you reading. Think about your language, colour your pictures for the reader, and try and give it a rhythm, even if it's like that last one, boys don't read, with the door. Go and open the door. Give it a rhythm. Don't worry about rhyming at this stage. Just have some fun with ideas. So if Miss says to you, Sir says to you, go and write one about the seasons right now. Have a go, but find an angle, find a way in that no one's written about it before. Like Miroslav Holub found an angle about the door that no one's ever written before. Okay, that's all from me. Poetry should be fun. I hope you've had a bit of fun listening to this. I love poems and I love writing them. So go away and write some. Loads of ideas for you there. And I'll speak to you again, I'm sure. Ta-da!